Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This might be the first video, this might be the second, this might be the third. I don't know. I'm as new to this as anyone else. But welcome to the Dunvegan Enterprises YouTube channel. As has been described by Stephanie Gilmore, my baby in a sense, but given the amount of women that don't swipe on me on Tinder, this might be the only baby I have for some time. I'm delighted to say that today I am joined by Mr. Aden Kirk. He doesn't need much of an introduction, does he, with what he's achieved? But I'll give you a brief one. Winner of Challenge Tour, Development Tour, that match against Phil Taylor. We'll cover all of that as we go on. But Aidan, thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure is all mine. So, let's start with the obvious. But where did it all begin for you? Where did your journey in darts start?
So I started playing when I was 10. With my grandma, she bought me my first ever dartboard. I had a set of 25-gram darts from Argos. They were Eric Bristow's. And I just started playing every weekend round at her house with my granddad, and then started to get quite good. So I joined a pub team at 14 years old, and then from there I started to play county youth and eventually senior youth, and it just took on from there. I think I was 17 when they announced that the PDC was going to do a youth tour. So luckily I could start. I could do the youth tour from when it first started all the way through to when I was obviously too old to play. So yeah, that's where it really started, just building up through the ranks and of local leagues and things like that.
So, obviously, when that opportunity for the PDC Youth Tour presented itself, was it something that straight away you thought, yes, I can get straight into this? Was it something you were a bit sort of cautious about at the time?
I was cautious because I wasn't the best player. Didn't have a lot of experience really, but then I had a lot of backing locally as well. People giving me a lot of confidence and giving me advice because there was a lot of decent darts players around at the time. So I went there um, with no expectations really, and then the first round of the first competition, I drew Joe Cullen, and I was really happy and I was quite excited to be playing a player of his caliber. And then I went and beat him, but then lost the next round to Matty Gallett 3-0. So it was just one of those uh, one of those games where I just couldn't hit anything. But at the same time, I went up there and beat Joe Cullen, but then really didn't do anything else for the rest of the year. It's quite strange.
And I mean, we have to talk about it, that win over Phil Taylor. But I think in with that, I guess a lot of the rest of the run does often get overlooked because, of course, next round you beat Peter Wright, you achieve so much. So, I mean, let's take out that win for a second. But how do you remember that run? Because I guess that was almost the launching of Aden Kirk onto the scene.
Yeah, so I don't know if I've never qualified for the UK, but since I don't know if the draw's done the same. But leading up to it, I knew who I was playing going into the event first round. I had a couple of weeks to prepare for it, and Conan Whitehead came out as the person I was be playing first round. Didn't think I'd get through him. To be fair, the target was to get to Taylor, which would have been a TV tie. Excuse me, and then managed to beat Conan because he missed a lot of doubles, and then Gerwin Price, who I think it was his first year on the tour. That was a really good game, and then yeah, we made it through to that well that historic that game.
And I mean, I was watching the footage of it back earlier in preparation, and was you pin the winning tops, and you just walk away, just like you're playing down the pub and you've just beaten your mate who's averaged 35. And it's just, how do you look back at that moment? Because obviously, I can imagine inside you must have been feeling so much, but you just didn't let it show at the time.
No, I was more because I'm very competitive. I want to win every game I play. To me, it was just another game of darts, irrelevant of who I was playing, because the game. This is no disrespect to Phil, but he played like somebody that I was playing in the local pub. You know, I think I had 83 average. He probably had roughly the same. And to say that I beat Phil Taylor with that average, you know, nobody would have ever have believed that could have happened.
I mean, moving on from that. Now, if my research has led me astray here, I'm going to look like a right sod. But the way you gained your tour card from the development tour, because obviously you had a bit of success there, but finished third in the Order of Merit and only got it because one of the top two turned it down. So, how do you reflect on that? Because I guess after that final event, you see yourself third, you kind of think, right, what do I do next? And then was there almost a moment where you just heard the news, you got the call?
No, I kind of expected it. There was a lot of rumours going around at the time that I think it was Dean Reynolds. He wouldn't accept the card. I was pestering him. You know, I wanted to know there and then, so I was going up to him on the day, and even as he'd just been knocked out of the competition, I was going up to him and asking him because that's what it meant to me. I really wanted to know, and I was quite close to Dean anyway. But yeah, I ended up emailing the PDC. They got back in touch straight away and said, "Yeah, we are rolling it down." But then when I got on the tour, kind of felt like I didn't earn it. If that makes sense.
It's understandable. I mean, you certainly achieve things whilst you're on the tour. And Ali Pali, I mean, Ali Pali's always an interesting one because it's obviously such a spectacle in the sport. But I mean, and I'm not trying to dig up old wounds here, but obviously whitewashed on the stage. But how do you look back on that experience? Because I guess in the modern day, Ali Pali is sort of the pinnacle. But as someone who I guess grew up in the days where the BDO was more of a force than it is now, I mean, given it doesn't exist, was it always the dream get to Ali Pali as soon as you started in the PDC, or was there always more to it?
Yeah, I mean, I still believe to this day I could be a top 64 player, if not more. I know I've got it in me to do it. Um, Easier said than done, obviously. And it takes some people tens of years to get to that standard. But my target was to get there, get the top 64 within the first 2 years, and just see what happens. But the Ali Pali, it was always in the back of the mind, and then um, the feeling and the prep on the stage, it was completely different to the UK Open. Uh, on the TV, it seems like a really big venue, but yeah, when you're on the stage, it's quite enclosed. It's quite small. The crowd feel a little bit not on top of you, but I don't know. It was weird. I could feel the vibrations from the crowd through my body when they're all chanting and singing. And it was a brilliant experience. I'd love to get there again.
And I have no doubts that you will. I guess that kind of brings us on to the modern day because I let's start Challenge Tour because I've got friends who play Challenge Tour regularly, and one of the things they say is it's brutal because obviously you can have your first match 10, 15 minutes after you finished previously, you could be waiting hours. So how does it feel to actually in a day like that, which can stretch so long, you have so much mental baggage, as some people have said to me. What does it mean, and how good does it feel to come out of that day with a title?
Oh, it was tough. I mean, it was overdue in my opinion. I should have won one earlier, but obviously some reasons for one thing or another that's never really worked out. But yeah, it was just really happy. And it was one of the targets going into this year to win one. Didn't expect to win it on the first weekend that I was there, but I took my chances when they came about, and that's what basically won me the competition.
And obviously, you've played a number of matches on the Pro Tour as a result of that. And how have you found one? Was it almost a seamless transition back into that Pro Tour environment? You just walk in, it's just
Um,
like, this is where I'm meant to be in your own head.
um, it was a lot better experience than the first time round. First time round, there was a lot of doubt. Like I said, I didn't feel like I earned the tour card before. I was a little bit younger, a bit more naive going into it this time. Even though I've not got a tour card, I felt like I belong there, like I should be playing against these players. And I think some of my averages, apart from the last event that I attended, I've been averaging 9 on 90 nearly every game, if not higher. So I do feel like I do belong on there.
Absolutely. And I mean, of course, been playing the Modus Super Series as well. Obviously, reached the final on the same night as Eurovision. I remember the ratings between those two were incredibly tight that night. Uh, but Obviously, you reached finals night the other night, which obviously didn't quite progress as far. But I mean, for you personally, how helpful is Modus? Because I guess it's competitive play outside the PDC that a few years ago just wasn't there.
Oh, it's brilliant. Yeah, I love it. I mean, I'd live down there if I could, if I got that many invites. But yeah, it's brilliant for the players that aren't playing on that haven't got a tour card. You know, it's look at Luke Littler. It sort of gave him that stepping stone in between the amateur game, the professional game, and you know he took that stage by storm. Connor Scott, 120 average that he had. You know, there's some really good players, and you're looking at the Challenge Tour, and the majority of the players that are getting to finals now, getting into the finals week, they're all playing on the Challenge Tour. So it just makes that Challenge Tour even more interesting as well, because there's first weekend you look, not that many players in form. So it just goes on as well. That helps them with their form going into these events, and you just can't pick a winner. So it just makes it all quite interesting. And it's all because of Modus as well.
Yeah, it's always love hearing about Luke Littler, a man several years younger than me, who is in one match throws an average. It takes me about 3 matches to combine my averages to make.
Yeah.
I won't even tell you where the three darts currently on my board are, but rest assured that you won't be worrying anytime soon. Uh, I mean, what for you really is the hope for the rest of 2024? Because obviously you're sitting fairly pretty in the Challenge Tour Order of Merit. You've obviously given a decent account of yourself back on the Pro Tour, obviously again with Modus. So things have been pretty good for you so far. So at the end of this season, what is it you want to look back and say you've achieved?
So I've achieved everything that I set out to do this year, and that was to pick up a equipment sponsor. Because the amount of practice I go through equipment, like nobody's business. Um, win a challenge tour, get back onto some of the pro tours, and I've done all of that. Um, so for me, I'll be happy if it finished now. I would be happy because I do like to set little targets, get them achieved, and then look at the next year, and then try and build on it, if that makes sense. But I'd say I'd be kind of disappointed in the back of my mind if I finished where I am currently in the challenge tour. Um, Again, that's just the competitiveness coming out of me. Um, but yeah, I think the target's the UK Open for next year. I think I might be wrong. I think the top eight of the Challenge Tour Order of Merit get UK Open spot. So that's a realistic target from where I act. I've had a bad weekend the last time on the Challenge Tour, so that's obviously dropped me down into like 11th or 12th. Um, so yeah, I've not really looked at the rankings, but I'd say to get into that top eight and get back at the UK Open again, because that's just to fight some personal demons with myself because I've not ever qualified since 2014. So.
One of the things you'll learn fairly quickly about me in your quest to try and avoid me at every opportunity is that I love talking about the darts themselves, the equipment. So the ones you're using at the moment, are they a custom set or are they just unicorn handed to you?
So they're a custom set. I did look through the catalogue, and I've quite fancied an Ian White dart, but then the grip kind of wasn't quite right. So and the length of the barrel as well. Um, I used to throw the Target Agora, quite a grippy dart with the Swiss point. So Unicorn have made me a spin off of that with a purist grip, like the old Taylor darts at the back. Um, so the grip for me is quite important. Well, I don't know why it is, but I've always had a grippy dart, and these are quite extreme. So yeah, the first lot of prototypes that they made for me, they didn't quite work out because the grip was just a little bit too smooth. So I've had these ones made, and I've only Modus at the weekend. That was only the third time that I've ever played with them. So
Yeah, so in my dart drawer, I've got bulbous, grippy, long, short, tail. I've got just about everything, and my one section on the board is crying at the moment. You can't hear it. Uh, but on your throw as well, because it's quite one of the most natural throws, I think. It's very understated in terms when you look at the grand scheme of things. But has it always been like that? Has it always just sort of come first time you picked up a dart, was it always just like that?
Being honest, I can't really remember
Fair enough.
from back when I first started playing, but definitely I used to be a lot faster. I used to rock a little bit like John Henderson, because obviously smaller in height and that I couldn't really reach the board. So I'd rock, be very fast. Local players again, get involved, slow down, do this, do that. But yeah, it's never normally no, it's not changed over the years. It's not changed at all. It's just I've slowed it down a little bit more composed, and I've added only recently. I've added a little bit of like a stopping motion, a little bit like a go in Price, how he points the dart down at the start of his throw and then he brings it back. So in pressure moments, I'll do that sometimes just for a little bit of composure. But but yeah, apart from that, it's not really changed.
Awesome. Now, for all the chat we can have about darts, which I guess is what a lot of people have come to watch, you do hold the distinction of being a published author as well. So, I, tell us about Rusty. What inspired the book, and this, obviously congratulations on how good it's been.
Thank you. Yeah, so it was during lockdown. We had a well, I had my first child, and I don't know, I just couldn't sleep one night. Lack of exercise, I'm guessing, because of lockdown, not getting out of the house and things. So lying in bed one night, and it just came to me. I used to like writing as a kid in English and things like that. So I loved the just creating a story from nothing. And I kind of gave it up, um, forgot all about it, and then, like I say, during lockdown, it just come to me when I couldn't sleep one night. So I wrote 3 books that night.
Amazing. And now there's just one more thing I want to ask, and I'll let you return to your lovely family and be done with me for however long until I can pester you into doing something else. Uh, Now, this is something which I've got to bend down and pick this up now, which is a bit of a pain. But this is just me wanting to know something personally because I found these on eBay and I just want to know a bit of the history about them, when you might have used them, if you even would have.
I think
I
I
can
know what they
tell you're
are.
thinking, what on earth is he about to show me? Uh,
Oh, I think I know. I think I know what it is.
what do you reckon before I put it on camera?
It's Captain Kirk Dartflight.
You're good. Yeah, so when were because again, right, with these Showtime darts, these look like.
Yeah, so I was sponsored for about 6 months with Showtime. Um, Never used the flight because, well, this is going to sound weird. So I wasn't on Twitter, and then I signed up to Twitter. Somebody posted a photo of the flights and tagged William Shatner into the photo, and he actually retweeted me and said that I'd be in trouble if I used them. So I never used them.
Yeah, William Shatner does have a bit of a reputation for being a bit of a yeah, a bit firm on these things. Although I make that joke, it was of course the firm that released the song Star Trekking, and this is yeah, I'm just sidetracking myself now. Uh, right, so basically, if William Shatner ever comes to my hometown, I am just going to wave those at him, sneer at him, and see what happens. Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, if you can go to space, you can come to the Sussex coast, but either way. Anyways, I'm gonna carry on rambling, but I won't make you listen to that. Thank you so much, Aden, for your time. Of course, if you want to support Aden, you not don't use Twitter at all, do you, these days?
No, no.
Okay, so if you want to support Aden, then yeah, just obviously he's playing Challenge Tour, so make sure you're following on that. When he goes on Modus, cheer him on. If you want to support him, obviously buy his book. Uh, yeah, you should smile. You're the only person I can actually say that about. So thank you very much, Aiden, for your time. Remember to like, subscribe. Lots coming from the channel. Hopefully, if I haven't got restraining orders against me by the end of this, I'm not quite sure what to expect. But thank you very much for your time, Aiden, and all the best for the rest of the year.
Thank you. Cheers, Ryan.